So here we are for the first time in a week back in person with everybody and not a very, very thinned out herd. So see how this goes. Welcome back to In Life Education World. So 9-8, we've been doing these equations types every day. So we still have had every day combination. We have decomposition. We have single replacement. We have double replacement, and we have neutralization. For number one, combination is when two or more substances react to produce one. So you'll have a couple things on the left, one thing on the right. If you didn't start to do the 13 to 17 yet, if you just skim through every problem with an arrow and one thing on the right, that is combination. Just put C's down on all of those and balance them whenever you want. Decomposition is the reverse. It's one substance that's going to break down to form two or more, and then you need to put in that line of information heat is needed, because it says the last question there, what is often needed in the reaction from 9-7. So in the decomposition sentence there, you need to say heat needed. Those are easy to spot. You look on the left, and if you have one thing on the left, that is a guaranteed decomposition. Today is single replacement. So single replacement, you'd have an element and a compound react, and the element's going to replace a different element in the compound. I'll read that again and I'll explain it better once we have a board full of stuff. An element and a compound react, and the element replaces another element that was in the compound. Double replacement is what you'll probably read about tonight. Neutralization is coming. Single replacement notes, if you want to get them for yourself or be a helpful neighbor and jot it down now. Single replacement, sometimes they're called replacement reactions. They're sometimes also called substitution reactions. They're sometimes called displacement reactions. I don't think those ever make a quiz, but it doesn't hurt to have them. But replacement or substitution or displacement. How these are going to look is lonely element and then a compound. And after the reaction, the A ends up with the Z plus a solo B. So B was with Z, now A's with Z. A used to be alone, now B's alone, and there's a reason how they decide that. Not that elements have a conscious mind, but 10, there's a thing called the electromotive series. So 10's question, electromotive series. It's also called the activity series. So what this is basically is like a power ranking. I don't know if magazines still do it, but there used to be like 100 best looking men alive, whatever magazine, or 100 hottest women magazine, or whatever it is. So you're going to get like the power rankings here. MLB Network does 100 best players in baseball. But the electromotive series is basically a ranking of which elements are the most reactive. So if something higher on the list is alone and something lower on the list is in the compound, that other part of the compound is going to say, get away from me, you're not as good looking as that other element, and it like scoops up the other element and boots out its present partner, is essentially what's happening here. I think one of the recent videos I made an analogy to like somebody cutting in at a dance. You know, the good-looking person comes in and says, may I cut in on this dance? And one partner is like, I'd rather not. And the other one is like, yes, and like shoves them out of the way. So there's somebody is going to receive that cut in. Somebody's going to be alone and somebody's going to end up alone, but there's going to be a trade of partners in the dance at some point. Worth a note that water sometimes for these gets written like this. So sometimes instead of writing H2O for water, water gets written as HOH. So if you're doing the tonight homework and water is in play, just write that as HOH. When we get done talking here, I will direct your attention to page 228. So maybe you want to take a picture of page 228. Page 228 describes the list of who's the best and who's the worst, and who's coming and who's going to get the heave-ho to go be lonely. When the test comes, I'll give you a copy of page 228 on test day. But I'm not going to give you one of those now. If you get sick of looking at page 228, maybe somewhere when you do the assignment. That's the new stuff, 9.8. Anything there?
On 1-9, would you take single and double displacement instead of replacement?
I will, because I just said that was one of the synonym words, so I would be obligated to do so, I think. I'd rather have the word replacement, but yeah, I'll take it. Anybody else top 10?
What were the 3 words?
Replacement, substitution, and displacement are all synonyms for single replacement.
Okay.
So I would think double replacement to say double displacement. That would seem reasonable to take that answer. Anything else first 10? Okay, balancing. Hopefully you've been practicing that and it's going okay. 1, we're going to write the correct formulas for reactants and products, and that involves using knowledge from chapter 7 and chapter 6. You haven't had to do that very much though. They've usually written them for you, which is nice. 2, you pick an element to balance. 3, you balance the polyatomics that aren't changing. 4, you balance H's and O's. It doesn't really matter in which order, but as you do these, you sometimes just get a vibe for which one you need to balance, and the other one usually just self-fixes. You make sure the coefficients are the simplest or smallest whole number ratio, and then you check it. Sometimes I check it as I go. I don't necessarily do check as step 6. I'm just kind of doing the checks as I work. That's a stylistic choice. 17 is oxygen. 18 is burning. 19 is water plus a metal oxide. Skipping a question and going to 21, that's water plus a non-metal oxide. And then the middle thing was metals plus non-metals. Question today is 1, K, and L, as well as number 10. So I would direct your attention to 228, because that's where I'm working from. You'd have to sort of either read or listen to the question. So I think we'll need somebody to read to write these. So the homework tonight, they wrote them for you. But on the test, I'm not always going to write them for you. There's going to be a mix of these, so we need to practice our writing skills. So work in example 9.4. I spotted you a Zn for zinc, plus I spotted you a Cu for copper, but I'm not going to tell you sulfate. Somebody out of you tell me what sulfate is.
SO4.
It is SO4. Somebody tell me the charge on sulfate. It is a 2-. The charge on copper is variable. It's either a 1 or a 2, but in this case, we know that it's a 2. So we're good. I'm going to come back to that one. Question about the right so far? 9.5 has magnesium, Mg, plus hydrochloric acid. So here's an acid review. If an acid's name starts with hydro, what do you know about it?
Binary.
Binary, which means 2 elements. So one of the elements for an acid is always H, and then chloric is Cl. Are H and Cl friendly with charge?
No.
Yes, they're both 1. Come back to that one. 9.6. There's chlorine gas plus sodium bromide. So I'll spot you a Cl, sodium bromide. What do you think? NaBr. Is there any kind of charge conflict with NAs and Brs, or are those both in the 1? They're good. They're both in the 1. Why is this still wrong? Cl has to be a 2. There is no lonely chlorine. There's 7 diatomic atoms. That's one of them. Cl's got to have a 2. Is Mg or Zn in that club? No, that's why I kept rolling on those. Then 9.7, I spotted you the left part of this, potassium plus water. Tonight, water, you're going to write it as HOH, just because, trust me. Question about that. This is how the new number 10 is going to look. They're going to do the left for you. Then you have to do the right. So the question is, if you're looking at 228 with me, is zinc more attractive than copper? Yes. So we're gonna do some switchings. The ZN is gonna take SO4 away from copper, and sorry copper, you're gonna be lonely. But you have to rethink about the charges. Sulfate is 2, is zinc a 2? I don't know, how would we know?
Table.
Table. So if zinc, is it a 1? It's a 2. Okay, so we have to check the table to be sure, but zinc's a 2, sulfate's a 2, so that's okay. I'll come back and balance in a second, but let's complete them. I'll complete them all first and then I'll balance them all second. So for this, magnesium maybe is going to cut in on hydrogen. Is magnesium higher on the list than hydrogen?
Yes.
Yes. So magnesium takes the chlorine. Hydrogen goes solo. Do we have charge issues? Magnesium compared to chlorine? Yes, because magnesium's 2, chlorine's 1, so Cl2. Do we have an issue with H?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
H2. H is another diatomic. Is copper an issue? No. Then the list on the left is the top 20 list for metals. The list on the right is the top 4 list for halogens. So sometimes you have to switch lists. Chlorine, is chlorine going to beat out somebody?
Yes.
Yeah, chlorine beats out the bromine. So Na is going to stay first because that's the positive thing. Takes a Cl,
2.
and then the Br is going to be solo. And then we're going to do subscripts based on charges, not based on subscripts we
Okay.
had over there. So Na versus Cl. Is that good or
Good.
bad?
It's
That's
good.
good. Br solo?
No.
2. Who's the 7th? Because we're struggling.
IONPOBR iodine.
Full credit to Nicole who's voiced that one. And that was the right list of 7. K. Is K more attractive than somebody else in that list?
Yes.
Yeah, K is like almost top of the list. So K beats out the H. So what we would get would be
KOH.
K takes the OH. Charge on OH from memory
1 minus.
is 1. Charge from K from the table
1.
is 1. So that's good. And then
H2.
lonely H. But we can't have lonely H.
So 2.
H2. So you're going to have to do that tonight. They're going to do all of this. You're going to do all the switchies. Here's what you hope for. You hope you look at the list and the thing is not high enough to cut in which case you just write no reaction and move on. You're done. You just say there won't be a reaction because it already had the more attractive partner. And they come over and say, may I cut in? And the partner says, ha, 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 as if, hey guy, loser, there's not going to be a reaction on that. People still say as if.
Yeah.
When that's still a thing. I mean, for a while that
I don't
was like
I think
teenage
I've
slang.
heard that in a long time.
That's like Clueless or something, I
Yeah.
think, from that. Is that from the Clueless movie? That's an old movie.
I don't know. I haven't heard anybody say that in a while.
Question on the moves there to do switchies. Most of them you'll have to do the switchies. There is at least one for sure in the homework where you get to say no reaction, no, and just check out.
Sweet.
Now, balancing, what you're hoping for is you don't have to balance. Sometimes the switchies, everything just worked out just fine. So you just inspect it and see, for this, is there anything that's out of whack?
No.
No. So to prove to me you balanced it, just do something like that. It's balanced. We don't need any numbers to do anything there. This is out of whack.
2 with the HCl.
2 with the HCl. What's out of whack over here? We had 2 Cl's and 2 H's, and we'll stick a 2 there. If you get something that you really seem like you can't balance, what does that probably mean?
Get it wrong?
You wrote a formula wrong somewhere. Like you forgot a 2 over here. If you forgot the 2 over there, and you remembered the 2 on this, you would never be able to balance this. Because every time you fix, you need the H's and Cl's to have the same numbers. So if you remembered one of those and missed the other one of those, you'll never be able to bring it into balance. So if you get something that seems impossible, like, don't keep banging your head on the table. You've got to revisit, I wrote something wrong when I did the switches. So this I've got, who's out of whack?
The CLs and
The
BRs.
CLs and the BRs. So how can we start to chase this
Put a
down?
2 with the NAs. 2
2 with the NAs. So this makes 2 BRs, which we needed. This makes 2 CLs, which we needed. And we made 2 NAs while we did that, and now we'd be balanced there. So the guidelines are good. When you do this for the first time, I think following the guidelines is your best bet. Personal confession, I don't follow the guidelines. I just balance them. Like, I just put numbers on there and move on with my day. And I can't say that that's wrong because I do it. I would say the first time you sit down to balance these, that's probably inadvisable.
Yeah.
But now that you've balanced, if you've done 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and now you've balanced 70 of these, plus another probably 30 you've seen in the videos, like 100 balancings, you probably don't have the guidelines. But they're true, the guidelines work. For this one, how do we look?
There's one too many hydrogens.
There's one too many hydrogens. So like, the K's are good, the OH's are good. This H has a 2, so I'm gonna need to 2 that one to bring the H's into balance. But then when I did that, I made 2 OH's. So I
you need to put the 2 there.
put a 2 there
And
to
there's
get 2
now 2
OH's, but
Ks.
now I made 2 K's. And now I need a 2 there, and now I'm good. And that was hard enough, maybe it's worth a check. 2 K's versus 2 K's. 2 OH's versus 2 OH's. 2 regular H's versus 2 regular H's. Maybe that was worth a check, but maybe not. Personal confession, if that's my paper, I wouldn't check it. I knew I was right. But if, again, you're new at this, maybe you want to. That's what you're doing tonight. Make the switch, probably. I think 9 out of 10 make the switch. I think there's 1 that doesn't. Maybe there's 2. I don't know. I didn't look that carefully. And then bring it to balance. That's what number 10 is. If you want to work some 13 to 17, the single replacements aren't bad to spot either, because you have a solo artist plus a mess, and then you're going to create a different solo artist and a different mess. Those are sort of a giveaway. The double replacements versus neutralizations are going to look the same for 2 days. You're not going to know how to tell the difference until 2 days from now. Those, just wait and see. I'm sure you're willing to wait. I doubt if you're really like chomping at the bit to know how to tell those 2 apart. But they're going to look about the same. 9, 9, 9, 10. It's going to be pretty much the same stuff. Quiz next is 9-9, so it's going to progress the way you would probably expect it to progress. You're going to read about another one of these reactions, the 4th one in the list. So that first question upgrades from 9 to 10. There is one fill-in question that is pretty obviously there. And then there's 8 rules. What I'm going to ask you to do is tell me 4 of the 8 rules. I'm not going to make you memorize all the rules, but name 4 of the 8 rules that they'll mention in this reading. The quiz is still 21, so I cut off the 6 guidelines to make space. But I left on from 17 down the key element, the what else it's called, how are these things formed, those are all still there. Number 10 goes in reverse. It'll ask, what is the electromotive series? So you'd say arrangement of metals in order of descending reactivity. Right there on the paper, just underline arrangement of metals in order of descending reactivity. That's that answer. 10 goes backward. Anybody need a repeat of quiz changes as you step into 9-9? If you're wondering how high it goes to 9-10. And that's it. So we'll have 9-10, we'll have some homework days, we'll have a pretty large size quiz. It could be up to 55 on the quiz, which is big, but we've had bigger. Reviews coming, tests coming, stuff coming. 13 to 17 is coming. I'll keep pitching. If you do that in a night, you're going to probably regret it. That's going to be long. piece that out, it's not so bad. But